Good morning and welcome to Emerson Institute at City of Light. I'm Reverend Dr. Paul Gretz, and it's a delight to welcome you to our class session. We're coming to you from the Dr. Angelo Pizzella Wisdom Center on the third floor of our campus, and it's a delight to just share with you this incredible class from the Book of Truth by author Paul Seeley. This is a 2-credit class towards your degree. If you are one of our students working towards this degree, this is an 8-week class normally, but we're extending it 2 more weeks to really go in depth on each one of these chapters. So look for this class to be 10 weeks. And we also want to welcome all of our students who are joining us to audit our class. You're joining us just for the sheer enjoyment of spiritual enrichment. We're glad that you're with us as well. But know that as you attend these classes, they can be credited towards a degree program, a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctorate of spiritual studies, or even a doctorate of divinity. So know that we are committed to your educational experience and your spiritual growth. So to begin our class, which is class number 7 on the responsibility to becoming, we're going to prepare ourselves. We're going to take some deep breaths. We're going to do this to reset our consciousness, our thinking, release and clear out all distractions, and allow ourselves to really be in the moment. Do you know how important it is to be in this moment right here and now? Because God is doing some amazing things within our lives, and sometimes we are in mind somewhere else. Either thinking about our yesterdays or thinking about our tomorrows. We're thinking about what we're going to do later on after class, and maybe we're thinking about what we're going to do in the next 20 minutes for those of you who are joining us through live streaming at home. Easily to be distracted. So what we want to do is bring you into this moment right now and realize that as we are aware of this moment, God has something special for us. The Spirit of God is ever teaching. And we're going to allow that wisdom to unfold in our lives together. So would you breathe with me? We're going to breathe in through our nose, hold for a brief moment, and then release out, letting go of all stress and distractions. Let's breathe together. Breathe in and release. Deep breath in and release. Deep breath in and release. And in this moment of silence, please set your intention. Describe, speak the word. What is it you're desiring? What would you like to receive during this time that we share together? And so it is. All right. Welcome to class number 7, the responsibility to becoming. You're invited to awaken to what can be. Now, the key word is can, because you're invited to live in the realm of infinite possibilities. You're invited to realize your divine potential. Sounds very exciting, doesn't it? Infinite possibilities. Wow. You're invited to awaken to what can be, that there are so many opportunities for us within our life. So often, we have framed our day-to-day experience based on what we can't do, or the limitations of the day. We'll say, I'd like to do X, Y, and Z, but that may not be possible in today's context. So what we want to do is shift our thinking completely to the place of infinite possibilities being ours, and to wake up to the awareness of a can-be, can-do life. Wow, that's exciting, isn't it? Now, this is not promising you to become something that you could not be. But it's the awakening to that which we need to stop trying to fix things and trying to tidy up life that has never really been real or aligned to our true self as the divine self. So, quite often we wake up to this idea like, I got to try to fix this in my life. I need to make these changes. I need to make adjustments here. I need to tidy up my life. I need to clean up this and that, because I'm not this, I'm not that. We are also focusing on all the things that we are not. And instead, what we want to do is make this shift. Just focus on all the things that you are and that you can be and that are available to you. So we have a responsibility to becoming. That's right, becoming. To become is to come to be, or to align ourselves to what you really are. So what we have to do is a responsibility to get into alignment. That's right. Get into alignment with what you are, who you are. Bring this consciousness into a sense of one. You may say, oh yes, I hear this over and over. I am a child of God. But let's get into alignment with that and bring that into I'm living today, this moment as a child of God. You may hear constantly, I am an expression of God. That sounds really nice. But you need to come into alignment with that to say, I'm living today as an expression of God. So often we hear wonderful things in teaching and we can resonate with them and we say, oh, that sounds really good, but we don't live it. We don't come into alignment with it. We don't say, this is really who I am. So imagine living a new life in which you are restructuring the very cellular level of being. That's right. Every cell in your body is now being restructured as the expression of your true self. What is a true self? You're created in the image and likeness of God. What is your true self? You are the expression of God. What do we mean when we say expression of God? Someone have a comment on that? One of our students out here in our classroom that are joining us in live in-person experience. I want to share when we say you're an expression of God. What does that mean for you? Brenda.
It means to me that God is in us, in this world, to live through us and to experience humanness. And we are, in turn, can be a spiritual light to the world.
Beautiful. Norma.
I believe that it means expressing all of the goodness and the gentleness and compassion and not be afraid to speak about divinity.
Beautiful. Anne?
I think we're here to bring God into the world.
Here to bring God into the world. Beautiful.
Because God is us.
So when you see someone's expression on their face, it's revealing what? Their attitude, their emotions. How many of you have seen those people like, oh, what an expression, or expression of smile comes across their face and they're radiant with joy, or maybe there's expression of sorrow or tears, or maybe there's expression where they're embarrassed and there's blush, their face is blushed or flushed a little bit. All these things can be expressions of what's going on inside. You are the expression, that which we may see revealed to us, of God. So you're the smile of God. You're the wow of God. You're the oh my Lord of God. You're the radiant, eyes wide open expression of God. That's right. That's what we're called to be. To reveal, to express, to show to the world, to be the light of the world, to be the revelation, as you've all spoken of. You've all given great examples of what this means in our life. So we have a responsibility to align ourselves to this divine self, to be an excellent expression, a vibrant expression, a full expression of God. Now imagine living a new life in which you were restructuring every part of your body as you begin to understand your true self. You are beginning to claim this higher vibration of you, of who you are and what you are and being it. Do you understand what we say when we talk about being a higher vibration? Because everything is energy. You are energy. The life that you are living is energy. This room is filled with energy. All of this world is energy. Everything is energy at movement, and it's offering a vibrational frequency. As we begin to align ourselves, come into agreement with, come into oneness with this consciousness, we move to a higher level of vibration, a vibrational frequency of joy and peace, compassion, contentment, a wonderful vibrational level that's moving up the scale of a frequency that's vibrating and radiating, shall we say, the very essence of God at a higher level.
But we can't just proclaim we're God. We're here. I'm here. I'm God. We have to have the connection. We have to work at it. I mean, we have to know God in order to be God. We can't just say, well, okay, I'm special because I'm here, and I could be God, a little bit of God, or whatever, be delusional, whatever. So the connection is what I struggle with sometimes.
And I like that word, connection or alignment. Connection, alignment, attunement, all these wonderful words, because we're saying, how do I align with that? How do I come into oneness with it? How do I make this connection? Okay?
The oneness.
Right. And when you realize who you are, that's that connection that you're making. You're not forcing something in, you are radiating out what you are. When I realize I am a child of God, not trying to be a child of God, not hoping to be a child of God, that's what I was created as. And sometimes in our physical world, we lose sight and we think, I don't feel like a child of God. I feel like just so human. I don't feel any kind of essence of being divine. But we have to go back, and alignment or oneness is changing our thinking, where we begin to say, I know who I am. I wake up every morning, awaken to this truth. I'm a divine expression of God. That is exactly who I am. And
you know what? That gives more meaning to me when you talk about love and you say, loving is not. How do you say?
God is not loving. God is love.
Yeah, and so if we proclaimed I'm God and I'm loving, so I'm God, that's not being love, and that's being God. Just acting loving, and I think you've explained to us that takes both parts of the brain,
right?
Both hemispheres, the male and female, whatever. However, the two things into one.
Intellect and feeling coming together.
Yeah.
Yes. So what we want to understand is God in me is love.
Right.
So I'm going to radiate love. I'm going to be love. And from that consciousness, you will act out and do love. But so many people are working at it backwards and saying, I'm trying to be loving. I'm trying to be loving.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, this person over here or that one over there really works my last nerve. And I'm trying to be loving. Okay? But how about we shift our thinking and say, I am love. I don't have to try to be. I already am. Because the God that is within me, the expression of God that I am, is love. So I don't have to try to be anything. I just have to be who I am. Not try, but be. So that means we put into action from that perspective of that which we know we are, not trying to be. So we aren't here in life to try to fix anything. To fix something means that there's something wrong. That somehow in your life you're wrong, and you need to be fixed. No. You are a beautiful creation of God, a divine expression of God. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to change your awareness and come into alignment with who you are. So there's no fixing. There's not, because you're already perfect. Wow. That's right. It's hard for us to acknowledge our own personal perfection. But you've been created in the image and likeness of God, and that is perfection. So there's nothing faulty, for God's not creating junk. God's not creating things that need to be fixed. God's not making stuff that's saying, okay, there's something wrong with this, and I created this one, somehow, God's, was creating a human being, and whoops, I burnt that one. I made a mistake on this one. This is burnt toast. I don't have to do it. I'll have to fix that one. No, every creation is a divine expression and is perfect. You're already perfect. You recognize that is a challenge for many of us because it's been drilled in us that we are not perfect. But you're created in that perfection. What makes us imperfect is the fact that we're not accepting our perfection. We don't acknowledge who we are. So we're living from this perspective that I'm faulty. I need to be fixed. I have problems. I'm not very good at this. I'm not a very loving person. And we go on with, I need to fix this. I need to work on this. I need to really struggle with this. Stop. You don't need to fix anything. You just need to be who you are. And who you are is this divine expression. And
my energy teacher said that. It's taken a while for all of this to sink in meaningfully, but I said, I'm having this problem, and I guess I just have to love myself through it. And he said, wait a minute, Ann, do you believe you're God? And I said, yes. And you don't have to, be loving to yourself, which means sometimes you fall down, or it's that personal relationship with God. You go to God first, not somebody else. You don't have to, I'm going to act lovingly to myself and get through this whole thing. Go to God, go to God, be God, connect with God. That's how you do it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Connect with who you are.
Right.
And you are the divine expression of God. And that is perfect. So too often we have come to the day, we enter our day with the consciousness of having to fix, repair, change, get better at, when honestly, we have to just simply begin by acknowledging, I am this wonderful, amazing, divine expression, a child of God, a child. And in that child is all the DNA of the source or the parent. So God is in me, and I just need to release God out. Not try to fix anything, because my true self, and this is where we've been living from the lie, that we are not these things. We've been living a lie far too long that says, you're not good, you're not smart, you're not capable, you're not healthy, you're not well, you're not this, you're not that, you need to be fixed, you're not normal. All these kind of things that people want to bring out in the world around us that are limiting us. But we've lived that lie so long that we're having a hard time moving into truth that you are an amazing creation, already gifted and blessed. Steve.
Right, letting God out, but to get to that point, we go back to alignment and attunement.
Yes. So we can't let out what we aren't aware that we already are. I can't give you something that I don't even know that I am, because if I'm saying, well, I'm brilliant, but I don't know any brilliance to give you. But then when I center in the divine presence of God, the wisdom of God is mine. And I can give that because I first acknowledge this divine wisdom within me, okay? So when I acknowledge that God is within me, and I begin to realize my own perfection in health and wholeness, then I can release health and wholeness to this world around me. But I have to acknowledge it first, and alignment or attunement is to acknowledge, to awaken to who you already are and how magnificently you were created. You were created amazing. This body is amazing, isn't it? When you think about how it works, how blood flows through the body, how the heart pumps, how the brain signals to the body, and it's constantly telling all kinds of things to move my hands, and I'm not even thinking about it, but I'm moving my hands, and I'm amazed at all these things that this body can do and how it's been created so magnificently. Yet, too often our focus is that, oh, this body, it's falling apart. Oh, this body, it's not as good as it used to be. And we begin to buy into the lie that we're not created as this perfect being. And so we live then that lie. And the more we buy into the lie and live the lie, the more we manifest the lie. And more you say, I cannot, I'm not able, you're telling every cell within your body, I'm not whole, I'm not well, I can't do these things, I'm too old, I'm too feeble, I'm too this or that. And before you know it, the body begins to resign to that and begin to say, yeah, you're right. And you know what? You're getting older and you're getting weaker and you're getting less than. And tomorrow's going to be worse than today. So just get ready, because that's how you've been living your life from this lie. Now, when we move and shift and come into alignment and make connection, as Anne brought out that word, when we come into a oneness with this thinking of who we are, we're now signaling from a cellular level to every aspect of this physical body, live the truth, Let's go back. Let's start living the truth. And the truth is, I am whole. I am well. This body is in perfection, and it is living from that perspective. It knows how to heal itself, and I'm claiming this healing right now because this body is intelligent, and it already knows how to heal itself. So I'm calling forth the body's wisdom and infinite knowledge to already be at work, because cells know what to do, don't they? When we allow them to do what they know to do. How many of you had a paper cut? Now, did you run to emergency room? No. Did you sweat that? Did you have, fear? No. What you knew? You knew that that paper cut was going to heal, right? Small thing. But you knew it would heal because you knew the intelligence of the body knows how to heal. Okay? So we see that on a smaller scale. How about we start living it on an even larger scale? Because the body knows what to do to correct itself. So we want to acknowledge that as we begin to shift our thinking from this body is aging and can do less to this body is now still holding and operating from its original perfection. And from that spirit and that intellect within, we now radiate this truth that speaks to every cell, and every cell starts doing its work. Oh, get to work. Come on, let's heal this. Let's work on this. Let's improve this. So what happens in our world today, we have received a vaccine, many have, that has spoken to the cell of what the cell needs to do. Get to work, fight off this virus, okay? And the cell is being told what to do through this vaccine, okay? So in the same way, intellectually, we can tell and inform our body as we begin to move in a higher vibrational thinking. Our thoughts now are not down here of I'm a failure to instead I'm walking and living in original blessing. I know who I am and how I'm created. I'm living in this fullness and I'm just loving this body. That's right. I hope that you are just not only just loving this body, but this body is love. Wow. This body's love. It's just these hands are love. This torso is love. Yes, these eyes are love. Yes, this hair, well, it's love. Yeah, it's a little bit of love. Yeah, I got some love there. It may be whatever, but we express that it is love. Love is who I am. And this love is all good. This love is always radiating the highest and best. And I want to live from that perspective. And that's how I am walking in this world. I am love. How beautiful that is when we begin to claim this higher vibration. And
I was whacking branches the other day on a tree, and I gouged myself. I had 3 bleeding spots, and I thought, should I go get a tetanus shot? What should I put antibiotic ointment on it? What? And then I kind of forgot about it. And I looked at it this morning, and I said, they're healing. And I thought, you don't heal overnight, And I said to myself, how come I'm so wacky? It's because I'm in process. I'm on the journey, and I'm on the journey like my arm is on the journey. It's healing and it's doing fine. It doesn't hurt. And yeah, that came to me this morning. So
I love that.
Yeah, we
wonderful.
Expect overnight to heal. It doesn't happen that way.
It can, but there's also, but I love what you said, this process. Sometimes process is like this, and sometimes process is a little bit longer. But it's all to the degree and expectation. And sometimes we just allow the body to do its work. And I think the more we activate our belief within this body, the faster and it begins to operate in more healthy ways. Okay? I know that if I work out in the gym and I work my muscles know what to do. Even though they may be sore, they know we're going to heal, we're going to build up, we're going to re-strengthen, because suddenly he's using a muscle. We haven't been used for a while. Now you're using it. So it's now that perspective that there becomes expectation within the body. That the body's now moving into saying, I hope he's working out tomorrow because we're ready for it. I hope he's working out the next day because we're ready for it. We're ready. We're gearing up to be building and renewing and strengthening. And the more we use the body in this way and manner, it begins to operate in its intelligence of what it knows what to do. So I want to tell you this. You're not becoming better people. You're simply being who and what you are. This is what happens. When we awaken, it's not that you suddenly became a better person. You always were a good person. You always were amazing. Do you know that the soul of you came into this world blessed, gifted, equipped, divine? You always were. But somehow over the course of these years, you begin to live the lie that you are not. And you begin to forget who you were or who you are and how you're supposed to live. So you're not becoming a better person, but you're simply being who and what you are. And when you realize that, it's like, oh, whoa, the work of change is going to take me 25 years. I may never become that better person. No, from this moment on, I am that person. I am that. And I live now, not waiting for the someday or when I get better, but I am better. And this is where we bring everything into the now, into this moment, right now. How powerful that is. Because too often we are thinking that one day it will happen. And that one day never happens. But when we say right now, in this moment, I'm living from health and wholeness. Right now, I'm living from, how many people say, you know what? When I lose 10 pounds, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, And how many of you have been trying to lose 10 pounds for the last 30 years? Yeah, a lot of us, right? And we lose that 10 and we found 20 more. And then we lose 10 and we found 30 more. And, before you know it, it's this yo-yo thing. And we're always putting off of, what were you going to do when you lost those 10 pounds? How about you start thinking now, I am healthy and whole. And what happens so amazingly is when we shift our thinking to this vibrational level of that you are, you start living as if you are. You say today, I am healthy. Okay? When you start saying I'm healthy, then you go to the restaurant, you're going, I'm healthy. Well, healthy people make healthy choices. So I'm going to say no because I'm healthy. I'm not going to put that in my body because I know I'm healthy. But those of us who say, you know what, I'm so unhealthy, who cares? I'll have double fries, extra fat, refry them 3 times, lots of grease, go ahead, load it up, just pile it on because you know what, I'm not healthy anyway. So what's the matter, So we make choices based on our thinking. But when we begin to say, right now I am, what happens is the bringing it into the now, into this moment of the I am, suddenly your life and the world around you starts to make changes and shifting to the vibrational level, your consciousness of what you are thinking, okay? And suddenly that manifests within your world and you bring about a change in your world. So once you start saying, hey, I am smart, and you start living everything. Infinite wisdom is mine. I am gifted. I am fit. I am healthy. I am whole. I am love. I am grace. I am peace. We could go on and on and on, and you're living from that perspective now, not someday, but you're living your true self. Your true self is all those things. Stop living the lie. Stop living the lie that you are not these things. Okay? So, set yourself free. I love this. The author is bringing out, set yourself free from the choices that you've made in your past. Set yourself free from the recrimination that you hold against yourself. Set yourself free from this misidentification. That's right. You have misidentified yourself. You have called yourself less than. You have called yourself not good. You've called yourself unworthy. Oh, and how about this one? You've called yourself a sinner. Okay? All this misidentification, and those are the names that you live now from. Rather than, I now know, and I am not misidentifying myself anymore. I know my true self. I'm the divine expression of God. I'm the revelation of God. And God don't make no junk. So I am good to go. I am in perfection now. And I am not holding, and any of the choices I made in my past, you know what, they're my past. I'm not going to make those choices anymore. I'm not going to choose to live that lie. I refuse. That's right. I am moved on. I set myself free from it. So simply release yourself from beliefs that were never true. They were never true. But you were led to believe this lie. You are invited to look at yourself in a whole new way. Not from the physical, but from the metaphysical. Metaphysical. You know? Oh my Lord, it just amazes me that anyone in the religious realm or spiritual realm would not be metaphysical. But there are. They keep looking and acting out their faith, their religion from the physical world constantly. And wait a minute. God is not limited to this physical world, but yet you are living out your faith, your theology, from a world of limitations. So I want to see yourself, you see yourself in a new way, not seeing not the mirrors of this world, but the mirrors of a higher vibration. That's right. Stand in front of the mirror of the divine and just say, woo, God is good, and I look really good today because I am the revelation of God. And I am feeling good because I am the revelation of God. And I am walking in this wonderful, perfect peace and harmony with oneness because I see God in me, in the spiritual mirror that I'm looking at. Now you can look in the physical mirror and you're going to look at a lot of limitations. You know, well, I ain't so buff. I ain't so trim. I ain't so this. I'm not that. And before you know it, you're naming all these things that you are not in the physical world. But start seeing yourself now from the spiritual. Because let me tell you this, the spiritual world is the world of energy. Real energy. Energy will come to you and to your body and to fill you with mental energy, physical energy, spiritual energy, all these things. Energy is going to start flowing when you begin to live from the metaphysical, beyond the physical realm. It is that realm that is unlimited. Unlimited. But instead, I'm sorry, we've been living the lie and looking in the mirror of the physical world, and all we see is our limitations. And then we buy into the lie, and we just absorb lie of all the things that we are not rather than all the things that we are. So when we do this, looking into the spiritual mirror, we're vibrating at a higher level and we express that higher level. Your energy raises. Your energy, the vibrational frequency of your life is now moving at a higher level. You know, we know that negativity is a low vibration and it's moving really low, slow. But we also know that love is a high vibration and it's moving at a much faster frequency, a greater vibration. So as we're moving into this love of who we are, I am love, suddenly we're elevating the entire physical being. You know how it is. When you bought that new outfit and you put it on and you looked in the mirror and said, dang, I look good. What'd you do? You just release some endorphins, you release some energy. You now say, I'm looking good, I'm feeling good. I don't know about you. You put on a new outfit and you feel good, right? Especially if you feel like you look good in it, right? You've raised your energy. So how about you go into the spiritual mirror and you look in and you say, I am seeing the divine in me. I'm seeing God in me. And dang, my hair looks good today. And dang, I feel energized. And dang, I feel empowered. And I can do all things, for all things are possible because I see from the spiritual realm. Okay? Now, yes, we acknowledge that this Tupperware container that we live in, not this little body that holds us. It holds us and it may have some physical limitations because we keep giving it physical limitations. But when the soul, the real you, starts acknowledging who you really are, and that I'm this spiritual energy, I'm this spiritual power and presence in this world, I'm living from that perspective, you're going to start impacting this body, and you'll start changing this body. You'll start igniting the energy in this body. For you exist at the level of which you are in union with all things. You're not in union? You're not in harmony? Well, then that's how you exist. So when you're not in union or in alignment or in connection or in oneness with God, you're out of harmony. Okay? And when we're out of harmony, there's discord or dissonance. Things don't quite measure up. They don't connect. And And then we wonder why we're struggling with, so much stress, anxiety, fear, worry, because we're not in harmony. And this is so human. We are constantly struggling to get in harmony, and we need not struggle. We just need to accept who we are. You are the divine expression of God. So how we exist in this world would depend on our understanding of our oneness. You can live in this world and be struggling and having strife and fear and anxiety and worry. And the person next to you can be in the exact same world, but living in oneness, in peace and harmony. And you say, how can this be? Did you not live in the same house with me? I mean, the world is falling apart. The other person is like, the world is a great place. What? How can this be? You see, it's how you are in the level of your understanding of being in oneness with the divine. All things are working together for good. Everything's working together for good. And that's how we look at the world. We look from those spiritual eyes rather than the physical eyes, which say, wait a minute, I don't see any good in this world. There's all kinds of limitation. There's famine, there's problems, there's war, there's civil injustice, all this stuff that's going on, that's all I see. But how about we move to look in the spiritual mirror and see things differently? So when we know who we are, you know what happens? We actually speak a different language about ourselves and our world. It is so true. Those people who really recognize, I am the divine expression, I am love, choose a whole different vocabulary. And they see the world totally different than the other people do. It's kind of amazing because they're looking and speaking from a negative perspective of fear, and others are speaking with a positive perspective of empowerment and joy and love. So the language, the words you're going to choose are so different. Steve.
Yeah, first, can we say metaphysical is just another way of saying spiritual?
I like that. Yes. Right. Metaphysical is another way of saying spiritual.
Okay. So when we look at things metaphysically, there's the tendency of saying, yeah, but the standard is physical. If I don't see it physically, there's something wrong metaphysically. And let's say, well, I think I am abundance. Metaphysically, I see that I am abundant. If I don't see that physically, well, maybe then there's something wrong metaphysically. So, how do you get past that?
Because what the scripture's teaching is believing is seeing. Okay? Believing is seeing. So if we don't fully believe, we don't see. And there's a lot of people say, I don't believe that there's goodness in the world. And they don't see goodness in the world. But those people who are believing that they see believing in goodness in the world, begin to see goodness in the world. So it's believing is seeing, not seeing is believing. From our, American perspective or our physical perspective, if you're from the state of Missouri, the show me state, that's a lot of people how we live our faith. You show me, then I'll believe it. But I got to see it first before I believe it. But the Bible is saying, whoa, let's flip that over. You believe it, and then you see it. So the spiritual realm says, I believe it first, and then I see it secondly, because I will manifest from my belief. But if we're in the physical world, and we're all from Missouri, the show me state, well, then we're all going to be Missourians who say, wait a minute, I ain't believing a thing until I see it. So there is no blessing until I see the blessing. And so what you're saying is, there's no blessing, there's no blessing, there's no blessing. And what are you experiencing? No blessing, no blessing, no blessing, because you are seeing before you believe. Now, flip that around. If I believe and then I see, there's blessing, I'm beginning to see blessing. There's blessing, there's more blessing. There's more blessing, there's more blessing. And it begins to escalate. Steve, your comment.
So has anyone ever argued with you on this point about, well, I kept saying, I'm abundant, or I'm healthy. But yet it still doesn't manifest.
Yes. You know why? Because a lot of people are trying to convince themselves with these things. You know it? And here's the thing. An affirmation is to stimulate your believing. But if you're at the point where I got to be convinced, you know, the bottom line, the core root is, honey, you don't believe it. So it ain't going to happen. So you can 10,000 affirmations and you can read them all. You can say them over and over again. God is good all the time, all the time. God is good. God is good all the time, all the time. God is good, but not right now. Okay? See? There you go. You just negated everything, right? Because you didn't really believe it. And here's our problem. A lot of people will go to affirmations, but they don't connect, align, come into oneness with that affirmation to the power of believing it so. Okay? Because, you know what? People can ask me, do I look good in this? Do I look thin? Oh, yes, you do. You look great in that. No, I don't. I know I don't. Okay, well then, I can tell you, I can affirm you and compliment you and tell you look good, but you're going to say, no, I don't look good in this. I'm going to change my clothes. I'm going to put on something different because I just don't. I said you look good in it. No. I don't believe it. See, all the affirmations in the world I can give you, but if you don't believe them yourself, then they're no good. And you can say, you know, you can stand in front of the mirror, I look good, I really don't. I look good, I really don't. You're going to knock yourself, you're crazy with this over and over again because you're not believing. So it's believe and you will see, not see, and then you'll believe. So, you know, it's kind of like my daughter was in pageantry. And the secret to pageantry is believing. And then you are. Not trying to be, and then you believe. Because the girls who don't believe that their success, or don't believe in their poise and their grace and their confidence, and they're going out to the stage hoping maybe I'll walk good enough that maybe I'll see myself finally as someone who has poise, grace, confidence, and ability, they're not the ones who are going to win. But it's the girl that walks out that says, I already see myself poised, beautiful, confident, strong, intelligent, that walk out on stage and they become exactly what they believe. And they see themselves because they believed it. So here's the shift in our life of the pageantry of everyday living. If you don't believe it, you're not going to see it. If you're looking to see it first and then believe it, it ain't going to happen for you. Steve.
So someone could say this, I want to believe. I really want to believe. But somehow I don't.
Right. But when you say, I want to, it just tells me you don't. Okay. So you've already answered your own problem. When you say, I want this, that means I don't have it. Okay. I want abundance. I don't have it. What you're really saying is, let's just change our language. What you honestly say when I want that, means I don't have it. But how about I have that? And then you say, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Why? Why do you want? Because you know the Lord is your shepherd and you already have. So the psalmist was writing from the very beginning of the 23rd Psalm. This is how you live life. I already have. I don't want. I don't want a thing because I already have. And when you start living, I already have, that is the believing that starts manifesting the reality in your life. But if you start saying the Lord is my shepherd and I got lots of wants, I don't have. What do you got there? All right, you're living in lack. And you're saying this shepherd is leading me into lack, less, don't have, want. You see? And that's where you're now trying to see and then believe. So let's move out of the state of Missouri. And none of us are living in the show me state. We're moving to Georgia, the believe me state. How's that? We're going to come to the believe me state of mind that says, I already have. I don't say I want. I don't say I want to believe. It says, I believe. I am believing now. I am believing right now that I'm healthy, whole, wise. I'm believing right now that I'm blessed. I'm believing right now I'm in abundance. And when we come from that perspective, that is the high vibration that will bring everything else to match it. Next week's class He gives an illustration in the next chapter. The author will talk about when you play the flute, that resonating tone of the flute will cause other tones to match it. The vibrational levels will match things. So what happens is there's an attraction that comes there. So your vibrational level is now I have, not I want. I have, and you're at that I have, and you're attracting all the I have to you. You're attracting more of what you already have. That's how faith works. But when you come from the life of like, I don't have, you're at this low vibration and you're going to attract more of you don't have. Okay? So it just is this wonderful experience that we can go through our life when we start saying, I believe and I shall see. Yes.
So
Steve.
what would be better to say, I like, for example, I have abundance or I am abundant?
Oh, I like I am better than I have, but those can be good because the I have, meaning that I'm experiencing it, but oh, I am is the true acknowledgement of who you are and living from there. I have can be good, but I love I am because that just says, not even, I'm just radiating. I have. It's already beyond I have because I am it, So I think that's more powerful. I love that. Great comment. Excellent. So let's just say we begin to speak a new language when we acknowledge who we are. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 says, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I become a sounding brass or clanging cymbal. This is how we used to speak. I'm going to tell you, I've been to church a lot of times. 43 years of a pastor, growing up as a preacher's kid as well. And I know there's a lot of people who were clanging cymbals. That's right, and sounding brass in church. You know what? They came to church and they left and they sure sounded like clanging cymbals and sounding brass because they weren't speaking the words of love. They weren't speaking their perspective or their understanding of being the divine expression. Then it goes on to say, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became mature, could be man or woman, I put away those childish things. I stopped thinking childish things. For now we see in a mirror dimly, in this physical mirror, but when you stand in front of the spiritual mirror, then face to face with the wonderful presence of God, I know as I'm known. I know who I am is what it's saying. And putting away this former thinking, we now see who we truly are. We've matured. We're leaving behind these childish things, these lies that said you are not, you cannot, you're not able, you're too weak, you're old. It's not, all these things of the cannots. Childish thinking of God, and that is this childish thinking that says God's not love. But God is love. And this is what God is. So you want to know what God is? Let's take a look at the chapter. First of all, it says this: love suffers long and is kind. Meaning love goes through and endures all kinds of things. Love is that strong tower that endures all kinds of things. God's love, the love that God is, even though we have walked away from it, even though we've lived a lie, even though we don't believe that God is generous and blessing, God endures that. That love endures all of that disbelief and is still kind. Love does not envy. God's not envious of you or jealous of you of all these kind of things that you may be doing, and love does not parade itself and it's not puffed up. God is not saying, look at me, I'm all that in a bag of chips. You better worship me or else. You better start praising me because you know what, I'm really fabulous. That's not what God is, and that's not what love is. Love does not behave rudely. Love does not seek its own. Love is not provoked. Love thinks no evil. God knows no evil. Yeah, we want to say, well, God knows evil. God sees you and you've done some evil stuff and God's ready to punish you. Wait a minute. Okay, God is love. Does anything in this description, in this chapter, say God is ready to love punishes? Love wants to see you suffer? No. Okay, this is describing what God is. God is love, and it's describing love. So you want to know what love is? Feel these things. Feel this wonderful sense of knowing no evil, of not being provoked. Love does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Love bears all things. Love believes all things, everything. God believes in you. The love of God believes in you. It's about time you start believing in yourself, because the love of God is in you. God, this love hopes for all things and endures all things. And you know what? It never fails. It always works. It always is working for you. Now, as you do, you're going to move in this new vibration as you start thinking that you are loved. You're going to attract things of the same vibration, and you'll have a different comprehension of what you see around us, because now you're seeing truth. You're living from truth. You have expected to see the world from the eyes of what you have been taught. And until there is a change, you're going to continue to see and expect what you've been taught. You've been taught you're evil. You're going to always see the world from that evil until you change what you've been taught. You're taught that you are not worthy. You're always going to see the world from an unworthy state of perspective until you change what you've been taught. You think that God is going to be a judging, punishing God, and that is not loving, and that will leave and forsake you. That's the way your world's going to be until you change what you've been taught. We're awakening now from these childish things that the scripture talked about. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. Okay? Now I've matured, and I don't speak those childish things. I don't speak foolish things. We're awakening to the understanding that the divine in us has a very different relationship to the material world than you did from the self or the non-aware perspective, okay? So now suddenly you have a different relationship with the world. You're the manifester. You're the creator. Not letting the world create for you. You're creating the world around you. You have a totally different dynamic with this physical world now. Because you're saying, wait a minute, I am seeing the world from a great perspective of love and grace and mercy and success and abundance. And I'm creating that kind of world around me. Versus like, well, I'm letting the world dictate my thinking, and whatever I get, well, I guess that's what I deserve. The reality is that you begin to see all kinds of things that are going to happen. They're going to come in stages. You're going to be healed. You're going to be able to bring healing out in your lives. You're going to be seeing restoration and strength. You're going to see a lot of things happen when you begin to change your thinking to acknowledging the truth about who you are. You are this eternal spiritual being. I want to tell you this. You know what? The you that you are right now always has been, is now, and always will be. That's pretty strong. Yet you looked at this body and said, oh, this body is who I am. It's not as strong as it was when I was 30. It's not as vibrant and energetic as it was 30. But wait a minute. Am I the soul or the body? Wait a minute. I'm the soul. Honey, I've been around for thousands of years. I've endured a lot of stuff. And I'm going to go on for another thousands of eternal life. Millions, gazillions, bazillions. I don't know how many more, what number. It goes on forever. So if I am this forever being, that's who I really am. Well, then I need to shape up this body to say, body, respond to this forever being. That's right. I'm speaking my perfection because I've been around the block for a lot of years. And I've been through lots of storms. And if the soul of me can endure all of that, then I'm speaking this same intelligence to this body. Body, get ready. I'm speaking right now that you need to start doing your work, doing your job. And your job is success, wholeness, well-being, strength, vibrancy. And, just go to work, body. Speak to those cells. Because you know what? The cells of your body are intelligent. And they're waiting. Do you know that cells communicate with other cells? Do you know that? There's an intellect within your body. So start speaking to those cells and engage a conversation of perfection and wholeness, of strength, of might, of wholeness, of healing, of wellness. Start speaking a new language. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to no longer manifest a world by agreeing to the fear that calls you. Your responsibility now is to claim in all things truth and align with this higher vibration, and stop agreeing to embrace or dance with fear. Okay? Stop the conversation with fear. You know, fear be gone. You have no place here. Just move on. Because I'm not having a conversation with you. I'm not going to entertain fear-based thoughts. So we can transform our world by the witness we share and the impressions we make in this world. Yet there will be others who simply just don't get it. Yes, their view is going to be different. I get that. And it all depends upon the degree or the level or the oneness or the openness to this higher consciousness that people have. Some people are just not ready. Now, let's just take a look at that for a moment. Your soul has come here to evolve. And the work of evolution, of self-realization of who you are, is the job. But a lot of people are not ready to do the job. A lot of people are not ready to go to work, physically in our world today, as well as spiritually, and do the work of work out your own salvation, Scripture says. Work out your own salvation. That means do the work of the evolution of your soul. Get ready. Be open. Be ready to expand. Here's a beautiful example in Luke 17, verses 32 through 34. Remember Lot's wife? That's right. Remember her? She's the one who had struggles leaving Sodom and Gomorrah. Whoever tries to save his life, meaning hold on, will lose it. But whoever loses his life will preserve it and live eternally. You're trying to hold on to this physical world. You're trying to hold on to your past. You're trying to hold on to everything. But honey, just let it go and know who you are. That you're this eternal being that's fluid through time. You were, you are, you will be. So just remember Lot's wife, who she had such struggles with this, leaving the physical world and moving on into the spiritual. I tell you, on that night, two people will be in one bed, one will be taken, and the other will be left. This is an example of that. Two people could be living in the same home. One is ready, one is open to spirituality, one is enlightened, and the other is like clueless, can't get it, because they're on a different plane and trying to work through things at a different level than what we are. So we're not saying that Lot's wife was bad. We're just talking her journey, her evolution of her soul was a greater struggle because she chose not to be open. She chose not to be aligned. She chose not to be attuned. She chose not to be one with the ever-evolving work of God within her life. So begin to visualize an escalation of your vibration. That's right. How about we start scripting it? Let's write it in our journals. I am moving at a higher vibration. I am now thinking from the perspective of love. I am now love. I am vibrating that today love is radiating from every cell within my body. I am scripting it and I see myself as these things. And you know what's going to happen? It'll bring you into perfect order, perfect alignment. Begin to visualize. That's right. Close your eyes and just imagine right now every cell. Talk to that cell. Have a conversation with that cell. How about some blood cells? Let's talk to them blood cells right now. You are working. You are healing. You're providing energy. I see you now at work. I visualize you operating at your highest level. You are communicating with other cells within the body. I'm visualizing it. And the result is my body is invigorating. Blood is flowing at an appropriate pace. Not too fast, not too slow. Everything is moving. My heart is pumping appropriately. Every muscle is growing and expanding. Everything is lifting. Hey, throw that in, script it a little bit, right? Everything is going upward and I am youthing. I love that one. That's courtesy of Reverend Dr. Joyce Reynolds. I am youthing. Let's begin to live timelessly. Wow. Live timelessly. How about we live eternally right now? Live eternally, knowing that your soul is on this incredible journey, but one of many journeys. Stop denying the fact that you are immortal, because you are immortal. You have been. You are. You always will be. You're immortal. For the what that you are can never die. The what you are, the child of God, can never die. That's right. The soul that you are, the essence of God, the divinity of God, it's never going to die. So be unbound by the clock and experience yourself in eternity. Wow. Think about that. What are you going to be like 1,000 years from now? Ooh, what will you be like 2,000 years from now? Ooh, how fabulous will you be 20,000 years from now? Because you're living eternally. The experiences you're going through on a day-to-day basis, the soul is evolving and you are living eternally. So you think, wait a minute, whoa, oh my Lord, I've only got, 15, 20 years left in my life. We're thinking by the clock. We're thinking this life coming. Wait, I'm living eternally. I got so much more to do. I'm living fabulously because I am immortal and never die. This body I will shed, and I'll have a new body. It's going to be really good. Not that this one isn't bad, but I was already visualizing. You know what? It's going to be even better, right? I'm already holding on. I've got lots of lifetimes to go through and experience because I'm eternal. So this is what happens when you become the untethered soul. Do you know the word tethered? What is that picture for you? Tied up, right? You're tethered to something. You're the untethered soul. You're living outside of time. And the true self that you are, it is eternal. You always were, you are, you always will be. It's time to untether yourself. Let's take a moment right now and untie the soul. Set it free. Untie it from the limitations of this physical world. Untie it from all of this, the clock of this lifetime you're living. John 10:10 says, "The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. But I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly." The thief is the lie that you've been living. The lie that's robbing you, stealing from you, killing you, destroying you. It's the thief that tells you you are limited, you cannot, you live in the realm of limited possibilities. This is the thief. It's a thought that's going over and over again, trying to steal from you. But the I am power, the I am awareness, I am come that you might have life and that you could have it more abundantly, rich and full. So it's time for us to begin to thinking from this, because the thief wants to steal everything from us, but the life that Jesus taught us is eternal and abundant. We have to take this leap to align ourselves with this truth, or we're going to continue to replicate history. We're going to replicate our past experiences. You're going to begin to think from limitation. How many of you thought about limitation 5 years ago? You keep thinking about limitation now? You're going to replicate 5 years ago? You see, it's going to go over and over. I love it. Not anymore. We can create a new world. And it does take everyone to manifest. But the question is, does it take everyone to manifest to create a new world? No. We create a world for those who are not ready, because we can help them get ready by our witness, by the impression. So you've got family members that aren't ready to be enlightened. You've got relatives that aren't ready to be enlightened. That just don't quite get this, and they're still living in the realm of, we can't, it's impossible. God is a punisher. God's going to send you to hell. You're going to burn forever. Jesus is coming to leave you behind and take a select group. All these fear-based kind of teachings and theology, they're not ready to understand the goodness of God. But the vibrational level that we live will impact others. So Jesus said, you are the light. Honey, just shine. That's all you got to do. Be the light, be the light, be the light. Because let me tell you this, how did you get to the place of acknowledging that you're the light? Someone told you. Someone witnessed to you. Someone revealed it to you. So reveal it to someone else. This is why I'm so passionate about teaching classes, because someone taught me. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Someone helped me see the light, that I am the light. And I want to be the light for someone else's pathway. I want to shine on, that they awaken to their true self, because they're already beautiful. They're already wonderful. I just want them to see that. So along with that, what we want to understand is that we don't need to manipulate. We don't need to convince. We just live an example. Oh, but wait. How many of you like convincing? You like to argue? You like to say, I'm right, you're wrong. And we see a lot of this in religion. We think we need to convince, maybe even manipulate with a little bit of fear. Well, if you don't believe like I believe, just know that you may burn in hell forever. You don't believe like I believe, you're going to be a sinner living and missing the mark constantly. We love to manipulate. We like to convince. We don't need to do any of that, because that means that we don't believe that the light within us is strong enough to shine on the darkness. And I believe that the light is in you. All you need to do is shine. Live it out. Be the witness. And as you are the witness, you are a light that shines that will remove the darkness in the world. So just move on and radiate. You don't need to convince people. No. My mother and father, as fundamentalist Christians and pastors, didn't really believe that God could bless a homosexual. Okay? And suddenly their son comes out as gay. And so what did I tell them? I talked about the blessings of God all the time. What? How can God bless you? You're a sinner. You're living in sin in their mind. You're not good. You're bad. You're not normal. Something's wrong here. How does God bless this? And it began to short circuit things out in their mind constantly, because they're like, wait a minute, this doesn't compute. My belief is that God does not bless sinners, but you're saying you've been blessed of God. Your ministry is blessed of God. You're walking in God's blessing. You're living in abundance. How does this work? And suddenly in the end, as their lives went by, I didn't try to convince them or try to manipulate them. I just lived the witness. And in time, they began to say, you know what? Well, maybe God does bless homosexuals. Maybe I have to think this differently. Because suddenly the light was shining on their pathway and revealing a new thought, a new way of thinking. My parents began to love my partner and I, began to see in the end how much they loved him, maybe even more they loved me. In the end, it was like, wow. And for them to say in the seasoned years of their life, I love you, and how beautiful that could be. Now, they still may have held on to some old beliefs, but those old beliefs weren't as strong and powerful anymore and as confident and convinced in their life, because light had shined on them. And they began to say, you know what? It's different. We're seeing things differently because of the light that shines. That's all we need to do. Be the witness. Jesus called us to be a witness. Didn't mean that we have to. Being that witness is just being who you are and living out who you are as the light of God in the world. So begin to imagine now that wherever you are is a holy place. That's right. This is holy ground right now. This is a holy place. For where you are, God is. God is there at the grocery store. It's a holy place. God is there at the restaurant where you're going for lunch. God is there when you are at home, in your garden. God is there when you're driving on Interstate 85. Because there's not a place where God is not. And where you are, God is. For the truth is that God is within you and simply waiting to be revealed. That's all. You are the revelation of God. And God is waiting to be revealed. So become now the light that you're called to be. Become what you are intended to be. That's right. How about become you? That's right. Become you. A divine revelation. Amen. So thanks for joining us for our class tonight, or today. I'm so glad that you were with us, and I hope you enjoyed this discussion of this great chapter by Paul Selig. Now, I'd love to know what your takeaway is and what really spoke to you. What resonates in your heart? Now, if you've been taking notes or following along on notes, maybe there's something you jotted down or underlined or highlighted that says, oh, wow, that really spoke to me. For those of you who are joining us through our live streaming or through our YouTube channel, we love to hear from you. We love to know what your takeaway is. If you're joining us through the live streaming, please take a moment right now and type in what spoke to you today. What really resonates in your heart? I'd love to hear that. I'd love to learn from you how the Spirit spoke to you, because it touches my life, and I learn as well. I appreciate that so much. So take a moment to do that. And while we're waiting to hear from you, what we're going to do is go around our class environment, and we're going to take a moment to hear from our students who are in the room. And I believe Dr. David Carter will be watching from home today, and he'll clue us in or give us a phone call here on my cell phone for any of you who have comments that you're bringing in from our live streaming. So with that, let's start going around our room and hearing what you've got to say. How about Ann? Let's go to you. What's your takeaway today? What spoke to you?
Well, a lot, but
A lot. I like that.
I like stop living the lie. By the way, love doesn't lie.
That's right.
Be your unique divine self. Release yourself from thoughts that never were true. And I like the spiritual mirror concept, because that's so visual. I like that anyway. And look at yourself from the spiritual perspective. That's kind of a new thought for me, to look in a mirror and say, spiritually, what are you? You know, you're tempted right away to say, oh, my eyebrows or my hair or my earrings or whatever. So I can do that.
Good. Excellent takeaway. How about Norma? What's your takeaway from today's class?
I like the idea of being the untethered soul.
Beautiful.
That's freedom.
Untethered. You know what? It's like a helium balloon. We're going to untie it from its grounding cables, and whoa, here it goes. The untethered soul. Beautiful. Steve, tell us what your takeaway is.
Well, it's a lot. It's pretty good today, very good. I'm not going to go over everything and take it away because we don't have enough time. But I will say that this has encouraged me to go back, when I get home, to reread 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It's been a long time since I've read it.
Yeah.
When we think about like Psalm 23, for instance, I see that psalm as a kind of like, trying to get out of a fear lifestyle into a faith lifestyle. I mentioned that the other night. Well, with 1 Corinthians chapter 13, to really read that slowly and read it contemplatively, I think will raise that vibration. The more we let the understanding sink in, we raise that vibration you were talking about, where once we raise it about who we really are, what love is, and what love is not, all the other vibrations will start to rise as well and harmonize with that vibration. So, a great class today. Great, really terrific class.
I love that takeaway, because this is who you are when you read Corinthians 13 that says, I don't rejoice in iniquity. That's not who I am. I bear all things. That's who I am. I believe all things. Yep, that's who I am. I know who I am because I'm love. Love suffers long and is enduring, shall we say. And love is kind. That's who I am. Love does not envy. Love is not parading itself around. It doesn't behave rudely. Ooh, wait a minute. That's who I am. I don't behave rudely. I don't seek my own. I don't think evil. Wow. That's who I am. Anything other than that is a lie. And I've been living from the lie, because my true self is that. And I'm going to live from my true self. Beautiful. Let's go to Brenda. What's your takeaway?
I just got from the whole thing that I am blessed. And I think I've always been blessed.
Amen.
I've always And I'm so grateful.
You're blessed. Amen. Always blessed. Dave, what's your takeaway?
I agree with everybody else. It was a really great class. But the thing that spoke to me was the very last thing that you said. Become now the life that you are called to be. Become what you were intended to be. Become you. Because so many times I've been other people other than myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that speaks to me more than anything else. So, great class.
Beautiful. Excellent. Wonderful takeaways. And let's just see, do we have any takeaways from Dr. David Carter? We hope that he is able to follow along and give us a call. We'll wait for just a little bit more. If not, we'll continue on then. But while we're waiting, just want to say I hope you enjoyed the class. And if you've been enjoying our classes, here we go. All right.
Just a little more.
All right, David.
I hope you enjoyed the class. You've been enjoying our classes. Here we go. All right.
I have a comment from Reverend John Considine.
From Reverend John Considine. Great. Welcome.
And his comment is, I'm showing this to my 14-year-old daughter who desires to be an entertainer on Broadway.
He's showing it to his 14-year-old daughter who is desiring to be an entertainer on Broadway. Wonderful.
That's the only one.
Okay, and how beautiful that is, Reverend John, because when your 14-year-old granddaughter, I think it is understanding who she is, a divine revelation, talented, gifted, already there. It's not something she has to be, something she already is. How beautiful that is. Confidence, radiance, energy, all those things she already is. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us in this class. And as I started to say, if you enjoyed our classes, we greatly appreciate your financial support. You can go to our website at www.cityoflightatlanta.com and offer your gifts. I greatly appreciate your support of the Emerson Institute. Thank you so much for your generous giving and support of this incredible work that's enriching people's lives truly all around the world. We have students coming to us from all different countries around the world who are tuning in and across the United States as well. God bless you, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you soon because you can join us for more spiritual enrichment through our Sunday morning services at 11 a.m., our Tuesday night class at 7 p.m., and of course, this class at 10:30 every Thursday. God bless you. We'll look forward to seeing you again in one of these opportunities. I know God has something in store for you.